trouble I've seen, nobody knows but Zariel. Nobody knows. Oh, hi. I did not see you there. How
I
how
was
long have
completely
you been
taken
there?
aback by your bardic inspiration, my good sir. Please do continue singing. It is soothing to my soul.
Oh, I can. I mean, I guess I could do another one. Oh, I tip my hat to you. Well, I do just that. Bo, 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 bo. I tip my hat to you, but you won't give me my hat. Do ba do ba
No,
do
I
ba
will
do
not give you
do.
your hat, because your hat is full of tricks, my good sir. And we're not playing
I
that
mean,
game
I
today.
am. I see your point. I am really proud of that hat though because I had a friend of mine who is very good at fabricating items. Take my hat, which I was already owned and loved, and they found a way to transition the interior of a bag of holding into the lining of the hat. And aside from the fact that I could store a bunch of stuff in there, I will say it also kept my head very cool, oddly cooling.
Well, other than coming here to visit you, I don't tend to leave my forest very much, so I appreciate the idea. Maybe I'll pass it along. And on that note, it's time to give a little bit more advice to the world. Are you ready?
I mean, I did already have the stone on because I was singing into it, so yes, I guess we can just go ahead.
Excellent. This particular note came to me the old fashioned way in my mailbox. I know, strange.
I
It
really
reads,
do just you in that mailbox. And I feel like with you being so attuned to nature, you'd be less receptive to getting letters. Like that's on paper. Like that's a tree that or a plant of some kind that was pulped down and then flattened out and dried into a sheet and then had ink written on it. Like doesn't that offend your naturalistic sensibilities?
not if they plant a tree back in the ground
Eh,
afterwards. It's the same thing with eating an animal. There is a circle of
that's
life.
pretty progressive mindset, I guess. No, I am sorry for jumping to conclusions. I just figured you'd be a little bit more of a stickler about it.
Anyway, the letter reads, Dear Guides, I've suddenly found myself adventuring with a group of actual crazy people, despite only actually liking one of them. Recently, we killed a nanny, and I think we've adopted the child they care for. Is this how adventuring works? How do I be a good parent when I'm still learning to be an adult? Oh my, that's an interesting letter.
That is an interesting one, but it does. I mean, I've been in the situation where you're like in an adventuring group and there's a kid involved. However, we didn't adopt the kid technically. The kid was an orphan, but wasn't because of anything we did. It was like a 10-year-old, like not one of the froggy type of humanoids. The other
Are you
one, the
referring
like
to a
fishy one.
troglodyte?
Triton, maybe? A Triton? Triton? I don't know how to pronounce that cleanly in my head. I've heard it both ways. But it was like 9, 10 years old. And it felt wrong to be traveling with the kid, but it was also one of those like blessed savior children scenarios. And you know how those go. They're kind of
Oh, those are
hard
always the
to
hardest
dismiss.
tasks to do.
Kind of hard to just leave the kid with a friendly farmer when they've already resurrected 2 of your dead friends and, you know, severed someone's pack by licking the contract item. Like, just never seen anything like it.
Blessed children. They're a piece of work, I'll tell you that.
Wonder what happened to that kid. But yeah, no. In terms of advice, I instinctively think this is a situation where it sounds like we should notify somebody, but let's just presume that this is fine, that this is just all fine. But this is not how adventuring normally works. Adoption's rarely part of the deal, especially since I presume you'll be continuing into a number of other dangerous situations. Like, bringing a child that you orphaned along into deadly combat, essentially. Like, I guess it feels appropriate to care for the kid, but, like, you're not doing the kid any favors this way. I would try to find someone more stable to leave the kid with as soon as possible. someone who's responsible, who isn't gonna put the kid's life in danger, someone who the kid won't eventually try to like avenge the death of their caretaker against. Um, and on top of that, and this might be a little extreme, but like maybe none of you in that adventuring party should have your own kids either. Just skip that whole thing. Just don't reproduce. Everything might be better. But it might just be better if you don't.
I do know quite a bit about children. In my opinion, it seems like this person has definitely gotten in contact with a rather chaotic group. But before we start jumping into too many conclusions, we do have to take into consideration that perhaps the nanny needed to be disposed of. Why did they dispose of the nanny? Was she a part of a nefarious plot? Then perhaps sending her to the afterlife to save the child was the correct path to choose. As far as parenting goes, I mean, at least in my opinion, no one is ever really ready. Nor do we know what to do the first time. They're both learning together, and that can be a very powerful bond within itself. Spending time with the child to get to know it, build trust, and you'll have theirs forever. Know that there are always people who are willing to help them on their path, and if they find their party to continue down the path of chaos while bringing a child along, instead of finding a place to settle down with the child peacefully or find a place for the child to live peacefully, then perhaps it might be better for this writer to take the child and find a better place to raise it. I was very much in over my head, taking twins as my first orphans, and there were a lot of times where I just wanted to quit and leave them lost in the woods somewhere. Anyway, it took a fight with an owl bear for them to realize I was not trying to ruin their lives or control them. All right. Dear listeners, you know how to find us. On the wind, on a bird's wing. We'll see you next week.
Keep an eye out for new episodes on Sundays, and if you want to send in a letter, or if you just want to learn more about the show, head to shadedareas.com.